Hello guys, welcome back to our YouTube channel TikTok 2022 and we are back with a new video, and it's an interesting video about a current topic that's going on through everyone's mind. It's the Evergrande crisis coming out of China, People's Republic of China. So we'll talk about different things and we'll explain you all the issues that's happening across about this topic. We'll talk about what is Evergrande and why it's known to people, what is crisis about the Evergrande, how is the world getting connected in this crisis, how the total world is being affected, and what are the future implications and possible steps of Chinese Communist Party and the Chinese government as well. So without any delay, let's begin. So let's go to Google and see a few things. Evergrande is a well-known real estate company. It started as a real estate company basically, but it has expanded its wings to different parts of their business. Initially, they were doing pure real estate. They had few different kind of investments except real estate. They have football club. They have mineral water franchising. They have football school. They have sports infrastructures like football training campus that they have developed. They have invested in solar panels, agribusiness, and pig farming as well. And it's registered as a public company. It was registered in China Public Exchange in Hong Kong Stock Exchange, and in October 2009 it raised $722 million. So it had a good connection to the politics of China, senior politicians. So they got cheap loans and foreign investments from different source of investments, as China doesn't make much place for foreign investors. But in this case, they got a plenty, as they had good connections. So they have huge property under development. They have huge assets that they're managing, that they were doing in the real estate business. They have joined the automotive car brand with new energy stream. That means power-based, charge-based vehicle. They have a big stake in tourism and entertainment. Health is a part they have started investing some year back. Media, finance, food and music is something new they were stepping in, not very old. If you go to the wiki data of financial status of the company, we can see the assets are very high and they have comparatively less revenue. So a lot of things they were developing in progress. Let me tell you a little bit about the Chinese real estate story. China was an emerging market. All the cities are full of, the core cities are full of skyscrapers, and they indeed have a status game. Though the status game story is true all the way for all the nationalities, the majority of the nationalities I should say, compared to US. The US after 2008, when the American dream went away a little bit, China got it in a higher rate, and they simply consider house as a status game, and sometimes the social status is differentiated from by calculating the asset as if house. So some marriages are controlled and considered with respect to the asset or the land they have or the property they have. So China has a great real estate industry. Recently, China has limited the property one can have, so people were doing tricks here and there to invest more in real estate, as it's a very profitable sector. The graphs were going so high. Let's talk about the second point. What is the crisis about Evergrande? So, as they had a lot of investments in, I already said, it was majorly on loans, cheap loans from China public banks, and as well as financial investments outside of China that usually comes from Europe and majorly from US. So the banks will be in difficult state to if the installments or repayment installments are missed. After a lot of dilemma, Evergrande confirmed that they will be defaulting. So after the defaulting story, the news came out. Since the news were there, but it exclusively came out that Evergrande is gonna crash. If Evergrande is gonna crash, the banks may face a difficult problem. The problems would be consider if since the public banks in China is involved here. So if one bank crashes, the other connected banks, since all the banks do interlending, so majority of the banks who are connected with Evergrande might crash. So this is something China is thinking about. They're planning the next course of action. We guess their next course of action is already planned, and this, along with this, I want to say that the crisis is not purely about financial things. Evergrande, as I discussed earlier, they had a lot of financial wrongdoings in their code. In a report generated by Cyclone Research in 2012, clearly says they had a lot of financial gaps, a lot of gaps in their financial reports, but they still de-invested or moved their money towards different sectors like games, films, animation, record company, cinema. So these things they have invested out. Now we'll go to the third point, how the world is getting connected in this crisis. Since the Chinese banks are crashing, there is some out funds that are coming to China towards Evergrande. Somewhere in the world, maybe US, maybe UK, maybe Europe. So those also can face this. So China needs to do something, as the Communist Party government was cracking down a lot of IT companies. Maybe it's also a controlled crackdown on this company. As of now, we see no help from the government. So we see it as structured and planned construction. What are the future implications? That would the fourth and last point. What are the future implications and possible steps of Communist Party China? I should say this is our own feedback. It's not something we found from any source. This is our feedback. We think that the Chinese Communist Party will announce some bailout packages. As we see, this happened, similar thing happened during 2008 Lehman crisis. US had to step in and bail out all the banks, because if banks crash, since it's financially important banking organizations, they had to bail out. China also has to bail out, either bail out or announce some different kind of funding that the crash doesn't happen and the banks have their base. They are already doing it as per the news. So let's see how quick it's happening. So that's all for now. We'll meet you in the next video. As of now, bye bye.